Hey guys, it's Will, and today I'm going to be starting a new series called PokéMysteries, where I talk about mysteries and Pokemon, if you couldn't tell by the title. In this series, I'm going to look at weird or interesting myths or urban legends that are in the Pokemon games, and before I start with episode 1, I'd like to ask you guys, what would you like to see me talk about in future episodes? If you have a cool idea or know a cool Pokemon myth or urban legend type thing, leave it in the comments or drop me a line on Twitter, at Swaridos. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce my own username. Alright! Link in the description of my Twitter. Let's get started with the first episode of PokéMysteries, the Mew Ditto connection. Theory. Thing. Improv is hard.
The beginning of the connections between these two Pokemon stems from a few things, most of them found in Cinnabar Island's Pokemon Mansion. But before I talk about that, I'm just going to lay down some basic links between these two Pokemon. First off, just going off aesthetical and statistical things here, because I'm a little bit shallow, Ditto and Mew are both fabulous pink in their main form, and fabulous light blue in their shiny form. They both weigh 8.8 pounds. Also, not sure if this is a connection, but all 6 of their base stats are equivalent across the board, Mew's all being 100, and Ditto's all being 48. Now, that's all well and good, but the real connections between Ditto and Mew stem from 3 main sources: the Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island, the Pokemon Adventures manga, albeit non-canon, and Faraway Island in Pokemon Emerald. The Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island is a rundown and destroyed mansion due to a fire. It's said that a famous Pokemon researcher lived there. The researcher in question is thought to be Mr. Fuji. As it reads in one of the journals, July 5th, a new Pokemon was discovered deep in the jungle. And when you go to Faraway Island in Pokemon Emerald, it reads, in the Japanese version at least, 6th day. If any human being sets foot here ever again, let it be a kind-hearted person. With that hope, I depart, Fuji. One of the journals in the Pokemon Mansion reads, Diary, September 1st. Mewtwo is far too powerful. We have failed to curb its vicious tendencies, and possibly its enthusiasm. The frightened state of the author of this note makes it seem like after the scientists successfully cloned Mew to create Mewtwo, it became far too violent for them to control, and it fled to Cerulean Cave, where it resides until Red catches it in the first generation of Pokemon games. Now, this is a lot of shit to take in all at once, so I'm going to set up a timeline. For this timeline, we'll be using the years of 1997 and 1998 to correspond with the release dates of Pokemon Red and Blue. July 5th, 1997 is the first event on the timeline, where Mew is discovered on what is presumed to be Faraway Island. July 10th, 1997 is when they name the newly discovered Pokemon Mew. On February 6th, 1998, approximately 6 to 7 months after the previous entry, is when the first successful clone of Mew is created. They named the newly cloned Pokemon Mewtwo. And the final journal entry in the Cinnabar Mansion is as follows. September 1st, 1998. Mewtwo is far too powerful. We have failed to curb its vicious tendencies. This is the last journal entry in the Pokemon Mansion. Now, let's turn again to that sign on Faraway Island. The last 3 letters, specifically the first word that isn't exactly there. It's B-E-R. This word was probably September. After Mewtwo destroyed the Pokemon Mansion when it escaped, Mr. Fuji fled to Faraway Island and left a warning to those who tried to experiment and capture Mew as he did. Now that we have a serious amount of background information, let's get into the proper theory that Ditto is a failed clone of Mew. The first exhibits for this are the simple physical and statistical connections I mentioned earlier, including their size, shiny colors, and basic stats. Mew and Ditto are also the only 2 Pokemon that can learn Transform naturally, with ropes in the connection from the Adventures manga, where it's said that Mew contains all the genes of every single Pokemon, something Ditto probably does as well, considering it has the ability to transform into every single Pokemon. Also, Ditto can only be found in 2 places in its native land of Kanto, the Pokemon Mansion and the Cerulean Cave, the 2 places that have the most direct connection to Mew and its clone Mewtwo. Also, take note that it takes the scientists in Pokemon Mansion around 7 months to successfully clone Mew. What about the failed clones? Dittos. Also, completely opinionated on this part, but Ditto just looks like a failed science experiment. Just stick that derpy ass face on your little brother's baking soda volcano, make it purple, boom, Ditto. Judging by all the evidence that's presented across these games, as well as a little bit in the manga, I'm going to come to the conclusion that yeah, Ditto is in fact a failed clone of Mew. But hey, what about you guys? Don't forget to leave your thoughts as well as suggestions for future episodes in the comments below, or tweet me at Swaridos. Thanks so much you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.